who that is. The man who was the chaplain, which you'll see in this, was chaplain for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He went to Coach Gerald's and he says, I want to talk to your boys. That was Mr. Irwin. His two sons were the one that made this movie. So it's a very personal chronology for them. They're chronicling what actually happened. When I saw this movie, the scenes that you see on here are not someplace made up or they just went to another place. They went to the actual place where our feet touched the ground. And they stood there with their cameras on the football fields and on the places on the sides of the streets and the sidewalks. And they shot that movie exactly where the events took place. It's a neat thing. Now, I would come and watch it with you, but I would sit up here going, no, you got to know what this is. And then you wouldn't even be able to watch the movie, so I'm not coming. But I want to attest to you that it is true. Now, what happened there at that high school happened at our high school, which was 7 miles from Woodlawn. Birmingham, if you look on a map, there's a mountain range that kind of starts at the bottom of not the Smoky Mountains, but the Appalachian Mountains. And they kind of peter out in Alabama, and it kind of runs from north-south, not north-south, east-west, northeast, like that, right? Runs up the kind of like the seacoast in the Appalachian Mountains. And Birmingham is right at the end of that. And it's a little hilly and stuff and a lot of coal in there. And that's where this story takes place. Now, what I want to do this morning is I want to encourage you that Jesus works for generations and through generations and people. You look at this and you go, oh man, that was a really nice story. I wish I could be a part of it. I want to let you know, Jesus has your story in His heart. And He wants to speak it and write it through you so you can be affecting people 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Your story right now can affect people 40, 45 years from now. I can attest to that because I was a part of what you're going to see next week. Jesus was intertwining inside of me and through me in those days. All the stuff that was taking place in here was a dynamic that a lot of people thought culturally, oh man, this is what happened at our high school. The Spirit of God fell on all of us one night under a light pole. 4 days after Woodlawn came and played us. This was our FCA huddle that was formed. This was a picture 3 weeks after that move of God happened. And the Spirit of God fell on us. I am right up in there, that goofy little guy with the bow tie in the middle. That's me. Some of these brothers the Lord's already taken them home. Some of them are involved in ministry. That was an amazing time. That's our football team. That's a public high school football team. The Spirit of God fell on us on a Thursday night. By the time I got into the school building the next morning, before I got into the door, people were asking me, what happened last night? Do you hear me? The Spirit of God so rattled that group of athletes. You mean that really happened? It really happened. It's not just something written in a book. You're looking at the faces. This face is in that picture. I was there. It happened. The Spirit of God moved in a very turbulent time. Let me ask you a question. Are there turbulent times for us right now? In those days, you know what gave us the willies culturally and spiritually? The black-white issue. And if you remember anything about Birmingham, you remember how rough it was in those days. The Spirit of God did this in the middle of all of that crud. Do you think Jesus was going, oh my goodness, I don't know what I can do. There's nothing. I'm just so bothered about all this black, white stuff. I just can't. I just don't know. I guess I'll just stay up here in heaven and let them try to work it out. Did he do that? No. And Jesus is working in me and through me at that point to make me ready for now, where I'm at right now. The last 25 years, I've been in Dearborn, Michigan. We live in a community that's the highest concentration of Arabic-speaking people outside the Middle East in the entire world.